My boss wanted to set me up with her son. At first glance, not bad looking. Worth it. Second glance, why does he look familiar? Hi. I'm Evan Taylor. Evan. Evan Taylor? The Evan Taylor I secretly crushed on throughout middle and high school? My boss had been hyping up this guy nonstop at work. Lily. He's a doctor with a stable career. Lily. You're practically the same age, he's just 2 years older. I'd force awkward smiles. At 26. Young and attractive. Why would I need blind dates? Maggie. Really? I'm not looking to get married yet. Maggie, my department head, ignored every refusal. After 2 weeks of relentless persuasion, I caved. When she next invited me to lunch, I agreed to meet him that weekend. She clapped excitedly, practically dragging me to the cafeteria. True to form, Maggie scheduled the meetup for Saturday and even rearranged my shifts. I arrived to find a tall figure already seated. She'd forgotten to share his contact info, so we'd never texted. Approaching the table, I saw him scrolling through his phone. First impression, definitely handsome. Hi. Are you Maggie's match? He looked up. Why does he seem familiar? Hi. I'm Evan Taylor. Evan. Evan Taylor? The Evan Taylor I pined over for 6 years? I froze until he gestured for me to sit. I'm Lily. Beautiful name. Evan nodded. I work at City Hospital. My schedule's hectic. So after marriage. Wait. Marriage? Since when did we jump to that? Isn't that moving too fast? I gripped my coffee. He chuckled. My mom thinks we're marriage material. Maggie's his mother? My mind short-circuited. It's still sudden. I managed after a pause. She totally ambushed me. 6 years of silent longing. 6 years to move on, now he's back. The irony. Dr. Taylor. What's your ideal type? The question slipped out. Desperate to close this chapter. Someone like you? He didn't hesitate. Mom was right, you're adorable. His smile mirrored the boy who'd stolen my heart years ago. He walked me home and asked for my number. If you're open to it. Lily. Let's explore this. This version of Evan surprised me. Gone was the aloof, untouchable ice prince my classmates used to whisper about. But why does he seem like a completely different person now? The next day, Margaret Smith called to ask how I felt about Evan Taylor and whether I liked him. I didn't know how to respond. Only telling her he made a decent first impression. Lily. Evan's always been the quiet type. Don't hold that against him, he said he really likes you. Margaret explained. Yet the Evan I met yesterday wasn't quiet at all. Our interactions after that first meeting happened entirely through WeChat due to his busy work schedule. Sometimes with full day gaps between messages. Margaret kept checking our progress, though clearly getting no substantial updates from Evan himself. She'd casually probe during our conversations. Lily. Any plans today? She asked while I was slurping river snail noodles. My chopsticks hovering over fermented tofu skin that kept slipping back into the bowl. I looked up at her eager face. Margaret. Do you really want me as your daughter-in-law that badly? She blinked before launching into explanations. Caught me. Evan's such a homebody, 28 and still single. Since we get along so well. I thought. You can tell me honestly if you're not interested. I stopped her mid-sentence. It's not that. Relationships need time to develop. So you two are dating? Nearly a month passed with Evan maintaining polite detachment until he suddenly called. Lily. Are you available for marriage? What do you mean? Bring your household register. I'm waiting downstairs. Curiosity made me grab the document. He stood exactly where he said. Posture mirroring our cafe first meeting. We're compatible. Let's settle this quickly. My mind went blank as if enchanted. We took marriage photos at a studio and registered at the Civil Affairs Bureau. In his car, He quietly smiled at our certificates. Why the grin? I asked. Post-wedding jitters turning irritable. Nothing. We're legally married now. Here's your key to our downtown apartment at DUN Complex. When did you buy this? Is my name on the deed? Added you to avoid parental conflicts. Move in whenever. Driving me home. He gave a brief hug before leaving for night shift. I sat staring at the marriage certificate. Stunned. Married to Evan? The man I'd needed years to get over? Next morning at work, Margaret, now my mother-in-law, waited at the entrance. Morning. Daughter-in-law. The title felt alien. No rush to call me mom. She quickly added. Evan works fast. I told him to pursue you. But marriage certificates? Her chatter revealed the truth. He'd married me to stop her nagging. Though I knew it was transactional. Part of me hoped for genuine affection. Now even that seemed naive. After his workload eased, we cohabitated, separate routines. Rare encounters. Yet sharing one meal daily per his relationship-building rule. Any food restrictions? Evan asked without looking up from his phone. Mango allergy. No chili or cilantro. You? The chopsticks in my hand trembled slightly, awaiting his answer in our shared yet separate kitchen. I can't handle spicy food either. He still didn't look up. Since when did Evan stop eating spicy food after becoming a doctor? Back in college, I'd personally watched him add 3 heaping spoonfuls of chili oil to a bowl of bright red stinky noodle soup. Back then, nursing my secret crush, I'd strategically time my cafeteria visits to match his schedule, mirroring whatever he ate. That's how I transformed from someone who hated fermented noodles to a full-blown stinky noodle addict over 6 years. Our daily meals had become bland affairs. Evan knew more recipes than I did, and weekends usually found him cooking. Why don't you eat stinky noodles anymore? I blurted out one evening, eyeing our insipid dinner spread. Evan glanced up with that perpetually confused look of his. Realizing my slip, I scrambled for cover. Maggie mentioned you loved them during med school. Oh. Let's eat. He gestured at my untouched chair. Evan's stoic nature made our limited interactions feel like diplomatic negotiations. I often wondered how much mental preparation it took for him to propose marriage out of the blue. Lily, are you free this weekend? We should visit your parents. He emerged from the closet hugging bedsheets, damp bangs clinging to his forehead in that annoyingly attractive way. Our separate sleeping arrangements, my idea, actually suddenly felt glaringly obvious. I'd worried about sleep talking betraying my feelings. I need to warn them first. You haven't told them we're married? He leaned against the dresser. Linens clutched to his chest like armor. Evan paused his ironing mid-shirt. Am I that embarrassing? The steam hissed between us. Lily. His voice softened as he approached, water droplets scattering from his hair. My breath hitched when his fingers brushed stray strands behind my ear, thumb grazing my jawline. This couldn't be happening. My face burned like sunrise. Open your mouth. His breath warmed my skin. What kind of kiss required jaw displacement? Curiosity overrode panic as I complied. Wider. Say ah. He leaned in until our noses almost touched. Ah. Those 2 cavities on your right side. Satisfaction dripped from his voice. Just as I suspected during dinner. Schedule an extraction at my clinic. My flaming cheeks betrayed me as he chuckled. That infuriatingly perfect laugh made me want to kick his handsome face out our bedroom door. Next morning at work, Maggie cornered me by the coffee machine. How's married life treating our DR? Taylor? His bedside manner needs adjustment. I glared at my latte foam. Let me guess, he tried examining your molars? Her shoulders shook with suppressed laughter. This is exactly why I pushed him to date. That boy needs something besides work occupying that brilliant mind. You love your job more than me. I mock pouted. Don't worry, dear. She patted my hand. I'll straighten him out at Sunday dinner. By weekend. Evan had detailed the car and wrapped gifts while I procrastinated breaking news to my parents. Tomorrow afternoon work? He meticulously pressed his suit sleeves. I haven't actually told them yet. The iron hovered mid-stroke. Not presentable enough? His reflection studied me through the steam. No. It's just that my marriage happened too suddenly. I'm worried they won't adjust well. Maybe just say he's my boyfriend when we visit? No need. What did he mean by no need? I texted my parents about coming home on Saturday. They were overjoyed, especially when hearing I'd bring my boyfriend. Mom immediately video called, startling me into hanging up. Evan was very proactive about meeting my parents, more enthusiastic than when proposing to me. He checked his watch while I did my makeup. Ready yet? Dr. Taylor can spot a cavity from across the room. Can't you tell if I'm done? I teased, annoyed by his deliberate questioning. Remember your dental appointment Monday afternoon. I've already scheduled it. And I've cleared it with Mom. He really left me no escape routes. We arrived at dusk after endless delays. My parents practically glowed seeing the 6'2" Adonis behind me, completely ignoring their long-absent precious daughter. Mom's smile froze upon recognizing Evan's face. She rushed over, smacking my arm. Sweetheart, is this the boy you kept dreaming about in high school? I'd forgotten Mom knew about my teenage crush. She'd seen Evan during school pickups, found my notebook scribbled with his name, and discovered that overexposed Polaroid of us. I nodded urgently, signaling her to stay quiet. Mom gave a subtle okay gesture before warmly greeting Evan. During dinner, she grilled us about marriage plans and grandchildren. On the couch afterward, she resumed interrogation. Evan, how did you two meet? Any wedding plans? I shoved grapes at her. These aren't sweet. Then don't eat them. Evan, try some watermelon. She turned back. Please be patient with Lily. Our girl's particular about things. Evan smiled softly. Lily's wonderful. His protective demeanor outshone even his championship basketball days. Lily never dated anyone before. We worried she'd never marry. Mom sighed. Dad, emboldened by wine, chimed in. She had this big high school crush though. We thought she'd get distracted. But her grades actually improved. He animatedly recounted stories Evan didn't realize were about himself. Later in the car, Evan rested his hands on the steering wheel, gaze distant. Something wrong, Dr. Taylor? Your parents remember this crush so vividly. He must have been remarkable. Evan spoke to the windshield. He was. What? Feeling jealous? I laughed at his uncharacteristic pout. Your father mentioned he went north for college. You probably never saw him again? Evan. I touched his arm. Back then, I truly believed that too. You'd never guess, you returned to your hometown. And I somehow ended up becoming your wife. Do you still think about him? That was the last question Evan asked me before starting the engine. I shook my head. After 6 years of letting go, I could finally admit it openly. No, I didn't. On Monday afternoon, Evan called to remind me about my dental appointment. I rushed to the city hospital, where he told me to go to the 5th floor dentistry department. Honestly, it had been years since I'd last visited a dentist, and I couldn't help feeling nervous. My appointment was at 2:30 p.m., so I sat waiting outside. 2 nurses passed by the door, peeked in, and giggled shyly. Dr. Taylor is so handsome. He's already the department head's top protege at such a young age. Give it up, I heard he's married. Stop daydreaming. Who's the lucky girl? She must be as exceptional and gorgeous as he is. As their voices faded, I froze. That Evan, still such a heartthrob. Lily, come in. He waved me into the exam room just as I was lost in thought. The nurse stepped out to take a call, leaving us alone. We both wore masks, avoiding eye contact awkwardly. Lie down here. I'll examine you first. I obediently settled into the dental chair. Evan inspected my teeth with clinical detachment, no trace of warmth during work hours. The cavity isn't severe enough to extract. You've got a small wisdom tooth here, let me know if it gets inflamed later. You're free to go. Seriously, dude? Did you drag me here just to meet your quotas? I even paid the consultation fee myself. Dr. Taylor, was that rushed? I mumbled through my numbed lips. Not rushed. It's good news, I want my family to have healthy teeth. Family. The word melted my irritation. For now. He's forgiven. Leaving the department. I saw 63 names still queued on the electronic board. Now I understood what Maggie meant by busy. No wonder he'd never had time to date. True to form. He texted that evening, working late. Don't wait for dinner. His absence meant unexpected company. My childhood best friend, Emily, was in town for work. She didn't know I'd married yet. We met at our favorite Luosafen spot from college. She dumped spoonfuls of chili into her bowl, just like the girl who'd once outspiced Evan in my memories. Strange. Though, he doesn't eat spicy food anymore. Why would someone who loves spicy food suddenly quit? She swallowed a mouthful, waving her chopsticks. Who'd give up chili unless forced? Look at you, still can't handle a single drop after all these years. Wouldn't bland food taste awful to spice lovers? Can't speak for others. But I'd hate it. Remember when you tried copying Evan's chili habit and cried for an hour? How could I forget? I'd mimicked his love for spice. His basketball skills. Even his study habits, anything to bridge our differences. But my story lacked a fairy tale ending. I never confessed properly. At the mention of Evan, Emily lit up. Heard the golden boy became a doctor. Wonder where he's working now. City hospital. I mumbled into my bowl. Her chopsticks froze. How'd you know? Ran into him today, at the dentist. He came back here? Thought he'd stay in the big city. She leaned closer. You liked him so much back then. Now that he's still hot, any lingering sparks? I didn't know how to answer him because my mind went completely blank when I ran into him at the cafe. Come on. Let's toast to our youth with this milk tea. My best friend Emily picked up a cup of milk tea later during dinner. As if mentioning Evan alone symbolized our entire youth. Yet he truly was an indelible mark in my adolescence. After dropping Emily off at her hotel, Evan called. Why aren't you home? I'm meeting a friend. Ever since he'd learned about my secret crush story after meeting my parents, our already lukewarm relationship had grown even colder. Where are you? I'll pick you up. His tone remained calm. No need. I'll take a taxi. You've worked hard today, get some rest. The ride I'd called arrived just then. You didn't drink. Did you? Be safe. For a fleeting moment, I detected disappointment in his voice. Just grabbing food. Autumn wind whipped my hair as I stepped out at the apartment complex, realizing for the first time that fall had arrived. I pulled my coat tighter and strode toward the building, only to be yanked backward by a strong grip. Turning, I found Evan. Were you waiting for me? I teased. Yes. He answered shyly. You didn't reply to my messages. So I came down. Checking my phone. I saw his texts and multiple missed calls. I'd left Do Not Disturb mode on, and the queasy car ride had kept me from scrolling. Sorry. I wasn't checking my phone. Just glad you're home safe. Let's go up. When his warm hand brushed mine, the electric contact felt surreal. We walked slowly from the gate to the elevator. Did you enjoy the meeting? He asked cautiously, as though steeling himself. Of course. We hadn't seen each other in ages. Evan squeezed my hand, jaw tightening. Was this idiot worried I'd met some crush? I wasn't meeting any secret admirer. Relax. My explanation felt oddly abrupt. I trust you. His smile didn't reach his eyes. I couldn't tell if his emotions were transparent or I'd become hyper-attuned to him. Emily called as we entered our apartment. Lily! You home yet? Her boisterous voice blared through the speaker. Just arrived. How's the hotel? Fine. But why can't I crash at your place? I'm leaving tomorrow. Even without speakerphone. I knew Evan heard every word. Not convenient. Sorry. How could I explain marrying Evan, of all people, out of the blue? After hanging up, Evan's furrowed brow finally relaxed. As I settled under the covers later, he entered with his blanket and turned on the nightlight. Our gazes locked in the dim glow. It's cold tonight. I want to sleep here. He pointed to the empty space beside me. Should I take the guest room? I blinked. Exasperation flickered across his face. No. Together. Couldn't he just admit wanting closeness instead of blaming the weather? Forget it if you're uncomfortable. He turned to leave when I stayed silent. Wait. Why so formal? This is your bed too. I grabbed his pajama sleeve. Good. Instantly cheerful. He rounded the bed and laid out his blanket. Staring at the ceiling, he murmured, Can we always share the bed from now on? Dr. Evan. This is also your home. I answered. I respect your choice. I know our marriage happened suddenly and we need time to adjust. So if you're unwilling, I won't force you. He turned to face me, speaking with utmost sincerity. Look at you being all gentlemanly. I poked his forehead. I admit a big reason I married you was my mom's pressure. And you're exactly the kind of woman she approves of. I thought I'd never meet my true love. So it didn't matter who I married. Even me? He shook his head. No. But it's complicated. What if I told you I still have feelings for my crush? I countered. Then it would matter. Evan is such a closet romantic. But we're legally married. I'm not worried. He added with a cheeky grin. After the lights went out, our arms pressed together as I tossed restlessly. Unable to resist. I whispered, Evan, do you really not eat spicy food? I don't. His drowsy murmur suggested he was half asleep. But, sleep now. His arms circled me, gently patting my head. Since Evan wouldn't explain his aversion to spice, I turned to our matchmaker, Maggie, my supervisor, mother-in-law, and perpetual lunch companion. The next day at work, she scrutinized our relationship status over steaming Sichuan dishes, her every bite flecked with chili oil. Maggie, does Evan like spicy food? Absolutely. That boy lives for heat. She paused, chopsticks midair. Wait, you're eating so bland. Don't force yourself to match his tastes. That afternoon, I texted Evan about grocery shopping together. His instant reply, busy with overtime, didn't surprise me. Hospital responsibilities always came first. Scrolling through food apps later, I settled on trying Central Plaza's new upscale bistro. The intimate lighting and rose gold decor screamed date spot, making my solo entrance feel awkward. While washing hands, I froze. There she was. Isabella glided past the sinks, her beauty undimmed since high school. The legendary campus princess who'd supposedly dated Evan. Their golden couple status whispered about by teachers and students alike. Returning to my table, I nearly dropped my phone. There, across the restaurant, sat Evan's unmistakable profile. Across from him, Isabella's delicate laughter carried through the clinking silverware. The steak before me turned to ash in my mouth as I stabbed blindly at it. Eyes burning holes in Evan's working late text. This restaurant was 90 minutes from City Hospital. I fled outside, tears freezing on my cheeks in the night air, dialing with trembling fingers. I got one ring before disconnect. When he finally called back hours later, his slurred "Lily, don't wait up," still working, smelled of whiskey and lies. "Since when does overtime require getting drunk?" The words tore out like shrapnel. The person on the other end of the phone seemed stunned into silence. "Come meet some friends," Evan finally responded after a long pause. That night, I waited until 2 o'clock in the morning for Evan to return reeking of alcohol. Watching him stumble into the living room from the couch, I made no move to assist. He froze upon seeing me still awake. "Why aren't you asleep?" "I'll take the guest room tonight, I smell terrible," he mumbled. I stared blankly. "Fine." I turned and slammed the bedroom door. The next morning, I left for work early and went straight to bed that evening. Evan showed no intention of explaining himself. 4 days. We maintained this Cold War, or rather, my unilateral Cold War. Maggie noticed my distress immediately. That weekend, she barged in unannounced, catching us both off guard. Evan was working in the study while I pretended to read in the lifeless living room. "Where's that rascal Evan?" Maggie demanded, scanning the room. "In the study," I replied, emerging disheveled with stubble shadowing his jaw. Evan looked startled. "Mom? What brings you here?" His bloodshot eyes met mine, and inexplicably, guilt pricked my conscience. "I didn't call her," I blurted. Maggie threw her purse on the couch, hands flying to her hips. "Out with it. Having marital troubles? Did you hurt Lily?" Evan ran fingers through messy hair, anguish swimming in those usually bright eyes. Though I knew reconciliation hinged on my next move, the memory of that wretched night glued my tongue. "There's nothing wrong," Evan muttered. "Nothing wrong? Or you didn't hurt me?" "I won't meddle," Maggie said softer now. "But Lily's been distracted at work, barely eating. If you break her heart," she wheeled on Evan, "I'll break your legs myself." Warmth flooded me at her fierce protection. "Mom, I'm sorry." Evan's shoulders slumped. "I'll make things right." After lecturing him thoroughly, Maggie left for her square dancing group with final advice: "Lily, divorce him next time. I'll find you someone better." Evan paled, hurriedly ushering her out. "Enough. Mom." Alone again, tension crackled between us. "Hungry?" I broke first, skin prickling under his gaze. "Why the silent treatment?" He pulled me into his lap, tilting my chin up. I confessed seeing him with Isabella that night. Relief came with the admission. Evan listened intently before guiding me to the couch. His kiss began tentative, then deepened urgently. When we broke apart, I chuckled at his scarlet ears. "Dr. Evan can blush too." "Huh?" He nuzzled my neck, voice rough. "Didn't know my wife cared so much." The new title sent shivers through me. Sitting upright, he explained carefully, "Isabella's an old classmate back from overseas. She needed advice suddenly, the restaurant was far from the hospital. I swapped shifts but couldn't reach you." "Then why 2 o'clock in the morning?" I pressed. "She invited other local alumni." "Here," he grabbed his phone desperately. "Call her. We were just catching up." His frantic sincerity melted my defenses. The truth would wait, for now. His arms felt like home again. I never imagined he'd actually dial Isabella's number. "Isabella explained to my wife about that dinner the other day." Isabella's cheerful laughter rang through the phone. "Lily, you've really got this wrong. I haven't been back to G-City for ages. When I heard Evan was in town too, I just wanted to ask him some things and invited him over last minute. I'm really sorry if this caused any trouble between you two." Her voice was melodious. "The moment he arrived, he announced he's married and needs to get home early to his wife. telling me to make it quick. She chuckled. Who knew our clueless guy would finally figure things out? After hanging up, Evan looked sheepish about being exposed. Could you explain things properly next time? I complained about him not clarifying earlier. You looked so angry. I got scared. He scratched his head awkwardly. Evan, don't you know girls need to be reassured? I lectured with hands on hips. Yes, ma'am. His tense shoulders finally relaxed as he pulled me close, whispering about a secret. Sweetheart, Isabella mentioned seeing one of my high school secret admirers at the restaurant that day. He looked absurdly pleased, as if balancing scales after my previous confession about having a crush. I just cooled down. I glared. Never realized I had admirers back then. Was this idiot serious? With his looks, build, and academic records, he'd been campus royalty. Did he really not know? Suddenly it hit me. Wait, was I the secret admirer Isabella saw? How did she know? I abruptly pulled away, meeting his gaze seriously. That girl who liked you might have been me. Evan's eyes widened as connections clicked. That day, you were at the restaurant too? So your crush. His voice tightened with emotion. I nodded. You. We attended the same junior high and high school. 6 years total. I held up 6 fingers. I knew you loved spicy food. Wore white number 5 jersey. Always went to the cafeteria 20 minutes after class. The memories spilled out, things I'd never dreamed of confessing. Let alone to my husband. Evan's stubble jaw softened as he brushed my hair, lips grazing my forehead. Were you the one leaving water bottles on my gym bag after games? My breath caught. How? Isabella told me. She'd spot this girl sneaking bottles onto my stuff when visiting her boyfriend. Did you drink them? My teenage self's unanswered question finally surfaced. Sometimes. Usually avoided for safety. But if thirsty enough. His clinical answer somehow healed old wistfulness. When did you first notice me? He asked. 7th grade orientation. This tall, gorgeous guy standing in the crowd. Good grades made your name easy to learn. His chuckle vibrated against me. So looks do matter. My wife noticed me first. I gaped. You're just realizing this now? Evan nodded. Parents were always working. Grew up quiet. Just studied and played ball. You know I never. He didn't need to finish. We'd all labeled him the untouchable academic prince, never guessing he'd become my warm-hearted husband. Still tracing patterns on my back as we whispered about water bottles and teenage courage until dawn. We used to say Evan was handsome but never dated, which made him stand out. What does never dated mean? Evan asked, pressing his lips together. It means you never showed interest in girls. You always kept your distance. Never even stood close enough to start rumors. Fair point. But you spent time with Isabella. People shipped you too in so many fanfics. I puffed my cheeks in mock annoyance. Evan pulled me closer, his breath warm against my ear as he whispered like sharing a secret. Did I forget to mention? Isabella's my cousin. My eyes widened. Now I remembered, she'd called me sister-in-law earlier. Heat rushed to my face as I pushed him away. Why didn't you tell me? You could have just said you were having dinner with your cousin. Evan scratched his head. Thought you knew, didn't realize the rumors got this wild. Seriously? Have you been living under a rock? Besides, Isabella married her high school sweetheart years ago. Didn't you know she had a boyfriend back then? If I'd known, would I have gotten jealous? Don't tell me you've never dated anyone all these years. I challenged. Actually, no. He shook his head. Unbelievable. Someone this attractive with zero romantic history? No wonder he fumbled so awkwardly with our relationship. Hope my wife will be patient. This Evan vows to study hard and become Lily's worthy partner. He clasped his hands in a theatrical bow, crescent eyes crinkling. In their reflection, I saw myself, laughing through tears. Winter came early this year. Endless rainy days making us shiver under assaulting winds. Lily, take this. Evan started removing his coat. Are you crazy? It's freezing and you're only wearing a sweater. I blocked his hands. What kind of doctor neglects his own health? His jacket already draped over my shoulders before I finished speaking. Our interlaced fingers became warmth-sharing conduits. Here you go. Lovebirds. The grill auntie beamed, handing us 2 paper bags. Mild spice here. Extra hot there. We'd craved our old high school street food. Evan immediately grabbed car keys when I mentioned it. Walking this thrice daily path after years. We marveled at memories. His arm stayed around me as I recounted my crush era. See that bus stop? Every weekend while you waited there. I'd sit here eating skewers, Mom always ran late. Best seat to watch the tall guy staring at passing traffic. Biting into a sausage. I added. Never imagined I'd end up with that mysterious bus stop guy. Me neither. Life writes unexpected yet perfect plots. Evan ruffled my hair. The old bus sign he'd stood under was gone. Replaced by a banyan tree. Call it fate. Dr. Taylor? Fate needs human intervention. What's that mean? He simply smiled. Let's get back to the car. Evan guided me into the warmth. Blasting the heater. Explain the fate thing. I blew on steaming meat. Sensing hidden history. It means the person you liked you back the whole time. His eyes curved into moons. That dentist perfect smile dazzling. Dr. Taylor. Stop being cryptic, I pinched his cheek. A long-awaited revenge. That's quite a long story. He caught my greasy fingers. Bedtime tale material. Okay. He started the engine. And the car slowly moved forward in the rain. The sound of raindrops against the window told me how truly happy I was at this moment. The rain kept pouring at night. Pattering against the windows and blurring them with mist. It was cold. So Lily had already curled up under the blankets early. Dr. Taylor. Bedtime story? She asked sweetly. Her eyes sparkling with anticipation. I'd promised to tell her our story tonight. And though it was late and she was clearly exhausted, she stubbornly refused to sleep. I pulled her closer and dimmed the bedroom lights. Where should I begin? I murmured to myself. Is it long? Her drowsy reply came as her eyelids fluttered shut. Maybe it was better this way, telling the story while she drifted off would feel less awkward. When did I first notice Lily? I can't recall exactly. During school days. This girl kept appearing around me, in the cafeteria. During exercises. Even on holidays. Gradually, I began recognizing her. The bobbed hair. Those bright eyes. The pink backpack she always carried. Her bouncing gait. It puzzled me why I grew so intrigued. Perhaps her cheerfulness drew me in. Growing up with absent parents. I'd become self-reliant but withdrawn. Never good with words. At reunions, friends joked I was a sealed-off iceberg. Their description made me realize how others saw me. Did she view me the same way? She often sat behind me during meals, sharing amusing stories with friends. Once, my dining companion asked why I suddenly smiled. I never revealed my secret. Throughout middle school, while buried in textbooks, she became an unexpected antidote to my monotonous life. Even though I never learned her name back then, did she know mine? I sometimes wondered. After medical school, I returned home. Partly to be near my parents as their careers stabilized. Partly clinging to the faint hope of seeing her again. But years had passed. Maybe fate had other plans. Then one day, Mom asked me to deliver documents to her workplace. There she was, standing outside the building. I recognized her instantly. Her hair was longer now. But those eyes still sparkled. And pink remained her favorite color. Nervous. I hesitated in my car until Mom texted, "A colleague will come down. Wait by the entrance." Is she wearing pink? With long hair? My voice shook as I confirmed with Mom. The affirmative reply left me flustered. Grabbing a cap and mask from the car, I disguised myself before handing over the file. Her cheerful "thank you" as she took the documents warmed me all day. Colleagues later teased my unexplained grin. I hadn't realized I'd been smiling. After my 28th birthday, Mom launched her crusade. "Evan, you've never brought a girlfriend home. What's going on?" Zhang Lin next door, his wife at my office, "Their son is losing baby teeth already. Don't you want to settle down?" Her daily post-work lectures about marriage grew tedious. I deflected with hospital workload excuses, shoddy but effective, until she started arranging blind dates. I resisted at first, disliking forced setups. Then Mom mentioned, "The girl you saw when delivering my documents, she's wonderful." My head snapped up from my phone. Mom looked startled by my reaction. "I practically begged her to meet you. Just give this a chance." "I'll go." She was still single. My heart leapt. The night before our date, anticipation kept me awake, as if destiny itself was nudging me forward. I arrived early at the cafe, covering a weekend shift swap to make time. While answering patient messages, a voice interrupted. "Excuse me, are you here through Maggie's introduction?" I looked up, breath catching at our first proper encounter. "Hi, I'm Evan." She stood frozen before me. I gestured for her to sit, breaking the silence. "Hello." She finally smiled. "I'm Lily. Lily Brown." Such a lovely name. After all these years, I finally learned her name. "It's a beautiful name," I blurted out without thinking. Since we'd crossed paths again, I resolved to be bold this time, no more missed chances from hesitation. "I'm working at the city hospital now. Pretty busy. After marriage, I might." We both froze at the word marriage. Her startled expression made me realize how abrupt that sounded. Still, I mentally reinforced my determination to take initiative. When she'd asked about my ideal type earlier, how could I possibly describe her without giving myself away? In the end, I simply said, "Someone exactly like you." My own boldness surprised me, as if years of bottled-up courage demanded I seize this opportunity. After walking her home that night, I steeled myself to ask for her number, though work kept us both occupied with little communication afterward. I must credit my mother's relentless matchmaking. Without her persistent nudging, I'd never have caught up with Lily. The day before proposing, Mom warned that some colleague at Lily's workplace was pursuing her. "Hurry up or you'll lose your future wife." Taking the hint, I called Lily using parental pressure as my excuse. Dialing her number, I'd braced for rejection and potential friendship ruin. Yet there she stood at her doorstep, household register in hand. Adorably naive, didn't she worry about being scammed? After the wedding, she suggested separate bedrooms to ease the transition. Despite hectic schedules, I insisted on shared dinners to nurture our bond. Learning she couldn't handle spice, I eliminated all chili from my cooking. Those bland meals took getting used to, but gradually I grew fond of lighter flavors. Meeting her parents later, discovering her longtime crush stung more than I'd admit. Though uncertain if she'd ever love me, I comforted myself, legal husband status surely beat some nostalgic flame. Imagine my shock realizing I'd been that unforgettable youth she reminisced about all along. Fate truly works wonders. As these memories surfaced, the Lily in my arms shifted sleepily, burying her face deeper against my chest against the winter chill. Her newly trimmed bangs framed that same lively charm from our school days. Holding her close, I tucked the blankets tighter, switched off the nightlight, and let contentment wash over me. Thank you all for the company. Your support fuels my passion for sharing these sweet romance stories. See you next time.